Good evening from New York. I'm Selwyn Collins, your host of CWS Journeys. Welcome to another edition. My guest this evening is Anna McCoy, Principal, Chief Strategy and Global Officer of Urban America. Anna McCoy she's a private real estate equity and development firm founded in 1998. Her 25-year unique background brings a multitude of different operating experiences. She's both a creative thinker and influential collaborator. Mrs. McCoy is the recipient of the Women of Excellence Award from Epitome magazine, named the Power Connector by Effectual magazine, published in Nigeria. She was awarded an honorary doctorate of divinity from St. Thomas College and appointed ambassador at large by WOLMI, an NGO furthering the goals of the United Nations to advance women empowerment globally. I'm going to stop here and just bring on this dynamic, amazing global leader we've come to know as Anna McCoy. Anna, good evening and welcome to CWS Journeys.
Well, thank you so much, Selwyn. I'm excited to be with everyone tonight.
What is accurate about the way those close to you usually describe you?
I would have to say loving, sunshine, extremely positive, and action-oriented.
Mm. Mm. Sana, tell us where you were born and give us a glimpse of your life at ages 9 and 15.
9 and 15. Okay, at age 9, I traveled to Mexico. I am an amazing mother who felt it necessary to send her 2 daughters with strangers to Mexico for a life experience. So that's what was happening in my life at 9, while also starting my first business painting houses. When I realized that I couldn't make any money, I decided I don't want to do that. At the age of 15, I was a student in a high school playing every sport possible: basketball, volleyball, what else? Track and tennis, as well as obviously a president of my class. In addition to that, I was working 20 hours a week at the age of 15.
Mm. Oh, this is so interesting. Your mom, you mentioned her sending you and your sister away, um, and you deal a lot with women.
Yes.
So this not only affection, but this respect and that you have for women and this passion for empowering women. When did you think this all started?
Oh, I think it started many, many years ago. I mean, I probably came out of the womb encouraging people. I was the youngest of 5 children. I was a watcher, meaning that I was an observer. Rarely did I get in trouble with my parents. I had my spouse with my siblings, but not much going on with my parents, and I would just negotiate. I had the parents that if one child got in trouble, all 5 of them got a spanking, or you got lined up or something. It's like, I didn't do this. So by the time my mother and father would get to me and they would take us by ages, I would be in there negotiating and say, look, you're tired, mama. Look at you. You shouldn't even have to do this. Look, I learned my lesson. I watched everybody, and I promise you, mama, I won't do it. So that was kind of my upbringing.
And let us talk a little bit more about women in your life.
Yes.
Was your grandmother around when you were born?
Oh, absolutely. Strong matriarchal family. My grandmother, my great-grandmother, and my great-great-grandmother. There were 5 generations around when I was born. And amazing, strong women. My mother, her sister, my aunts were strong, strong in that. And we certainly had my father, grandfather, and a few of them along the way, but we had a long lineage of women. And my great-great-grandmother passed away when I was 10 years old, and she was 107. So it's pretty amazing. And then her daughter was in her late 80s when she passed away. And then my grandmother was in her late 70s. So my mother is still with me, and she's about 75 now. So strong matriarchal love line. That's what we call. We're extremely. Our family has just a very special way of loving. A lot of us, and there are a lot of women in our family, and we just love.
Anna, one of my earlier experiences with you is telling of stories. You have
Yes,
an amazing way of teaching, of explaining things to people through stories. And on the platforms you use, you tell stories.
yes.
Apart from when it all began, I want to take this storytelling
Hmm.
among these five amazing matriarchs, your great
Yeah.
grandmother and up the line. Have you
Hmm.
ever been privy to storytelling when you were young by these women?
Well, that's really interesting. Our family wasn't much of a storyteller, but what I remember most about my great great grandmother is she was always old. I mean, she died when she was 107 and I was 10. So when I was born, she was 97. She
Mm-hmm.
was ancient, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But what I remember most about her is every time I would come and visit her, she would pray for me. She would lay hands on me and she'd pray for me. And the same with with her daughter. I would spend these times with them alone, and I just really felt. I think I felt really special. I think I felt like I was the unique one, and that's on my mother's side. On my father's side, his mother, I only got to know my father's mother, whom I met when I was a little bit older, about 6 years old. And I don't remember a day of her not praying. I mean, just she was a Catholic, and every time you saw her, she had the rosary beads in her hand, and she was praying. And she was in her maybe her late 80s when she passed away, but I was an adult by that time. So I don't remember many stories that they passed on. You know.
You know, I'm realizing tonight that I am not even going to risk or even attempt chronological questions with you, not that I have them chronologically. So I'm going
Yes.
to go with the flow here, Anna.
Okay.
You have a passion for prayer.
Yes.
You love to pray. You believe
Yes.
in prayer.
Yes, indeed.
Anna, when did this intimacy with prayer actually begin for you?
Well, it's a beautiful question. I've never known a day without God. That's really the truth. I've always felt the presence of God. When I was a much younger child, maybe about 5 years old, 5 or 6, I remember we've always been a church-going family. And I remember sitting in church and sitting next to the mother of the church and saying, you know, I'm going to be a preacher when I grow up. I was 5. And she says, oh, no, baby, you can't be no preacher now. Girls don't preach. You can be a missionary, though. Well, let me tell you, today she was probably more right than I thought. I'm probably more of a missionary than I am a preacher
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
today. But I just remember God all of my life. But when I came into an intimate relationship, I think with Jesus Christ, I would have to say I was around the age of 12. And my sister is really the one. She has always been the wind beneath my wings my entire life. She has been a personal intercessor for me, but she really led me to know Jesus because I wanted to be with my sister. We were very close.
Mm.
And she started going to church because she wanted to be with her boyfriend. And so by us following the boyfriend, we ended up at a church and well, they really taught us the Bible. And we both made a personal decision about our lives. We changed our lives. I mean, I was a consummate tomboy. I don't think I had worn a dress since I was at the age of in elementary school in 3rd grade that I wasn't fighting my mom about.
Mm.
And literally one day, as quick as day was night, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just be holy. You know, I'm
Mm.
gonna be holy. I'm not gonna listen to the radio. I'm gonna listen to worship music. I'm gonna start filling up my life with love and worship and praise. And you know, I'm gonna do right. I'm gonna make right choices. I was 12 years old, and so I changed, and
You
that
know,
was. I mean, I know every Christian song from from 38 years ago that there was, and this was so amazing, Selwyn, because back then we had tape cassettes, and it was a big thing to get a boom box,
Yeah.
that you could record the radio while it was going at the same time it was playing. And so I lived in this really small town of Goodrich, Texas, and I couldn't, we didn't get radio. You couldn't get it out there. So you had to, when you go to the city, you would take your boombox so that you could record the songs on the tape cassettes. And what's so amazing about this, I still have that cassette, that one tape cassette that I would play over and over and over again to fill my heart with the love of Jesus.
Wow.
And that was 38 years ago, and I still have the cassette.
That's amazing. Something you said, though, that piqued my interest. You mentioned that when you were 5, you wanted to be a preacher.
Yes.
And you were told that, no, you would be more like a missionary, and you agree with that. You become a missionary, and you have a mission. You do teach people. You do teach people a lot and empower them. But a preacher does the same thing. I want you to help me to make that connection, Anna. When you wanted to become a preacher, was it because you felt an urge to teach?
I felt an urge to teach, to preach. I didn't know what, I was too young to sort out the meaning of things. All I knew is that something inside of me stirred to want to be at that microphone, want to be on that pulpit and share these things on my mind at 5 years old.
I know.
Like 7, my aunt says, Anna, what are you going to be? My Nanny Jean, she says, what are you going to be when you grow up? I said, I'm going to be great. No, what about like a doctor or a lawyer? It doesn't matter. I'm going to be a great doctor or lawyer, but I'm going to be great first.
Anna, if you were to eavesdrop your parents, telling a stranger about you, what do you think how do you think each of them would describe you? Let's start with Mom.
Oh, that is so beautiful. What a wonderful question. I think that my mother would probably first of all, she would like just shake her head and she'd probably say, that one. That one. I think she would be, the one thing that this is so amazing because about when I was 45 years old, I asked my mother, I did an interview with her, and I said, Mom, I want you to tell me who I was before the world got a hold of me. When I was 4 years old, what did you remember most about me? My mother said, Anna, what I remembered about you is you had such a special way of loving people. You were so unique. None of my children, I had 4 children by the time I had you, not a single one of them had the touch of love like you did. You could make anyone comfortable, and you were strange. She said you were strange because you would look at people. I mean, you're like 2 and 3 years old, and you would look at people, and you would grab them by the face, and you would just love on them. And she said to me, Anna, you're that woman today.
Wow, Anna.
That was pretty powerful.
That is powerful. Anna, why did Effectual Magazine of Nigeria call you the Power Connector?
Wow. They called me the Power Connector. My friend Bidemi Mark Morty recognized that I had a unique ability to unify influencers. I met one woman there that ultimately turned into kind of a multitude of women, but specifically about 6 women that I then began to connect these women. I mean, things like their daughters going to school in different places in New York. Oh, never mind. I've got a person that I think you should connect with. From their sons going to school in different places and caring enough about not only them and their dreams, but also their family. When I went to Nigeria to visit this woman that I'd never met before, my unique ability, once I landed in that region, to begin to make the connection she couldn't make. And she recognized there's something's going on with you, And, just the influence. And I don't know, it's just grace. It's the grace factor that's on my life. The favor when we landed in that place, things were happening for me that she couldn't get to happen. But I have just a unique ability to love people, to make people comfortable, to work through things and connect the dots. And that's what I did. But in addition to that, I was able in a very short period of time for this young lady and others to connect them to nations, to women in other nations, not only in America, but in South Africa and other places that we were a part of, both Linda Wallace and I, who you've interviewed in the past.
Anna, if there's a personal mantra, what would that be?
My personal mantra is to contribute to the excellence of others.
Oh gosh, Anna, you're amazing. If you were not doing what you're doing today, Anna, what would you like to have tried?
Wow, I think if I wasn't doing I'm doing so many of the wonderful things that I want to do, but I believe that if it were one thing that I would want to do that I'm not doing today, I would want to be a naturopathic doctor.
Why healing, Anna?
Well, I think that heal thy body, you will heal your life. And that word healthy is heal thy. And so I really, really have just such a strong compassion that without the body, life there's nothing. I've lost some wonderful and loving people in my life because their bodies failed, because certain modalities of medicine is not practiced here in America that could have extended their lives. I believe that my body is sacred. And I want to make sure that I can be my optimum at any age. And I believe that a naturopathic doctor can help that. And if I had an opportunity to go and redo and have a do-over, I would spend time doing that so that I can help other people live a more healthy and fulfilling life and be able to accomplish their dreams and goals with energy and vitality.
Anna, I promise I only have 2 more questions related to your early timeline and family.
No, you didn't let me answer the question about my daddy.
Yeah. Tell me, Anna.
My daddy would say about his Anna. My dad recently passed in October of last year.
My condolences.
Yes, thank you. He was 83 years old, would have been 84 this year. He had 126 descendants. He had 18 children, 4 stepchildren, and 14 natural children. I was his youngest daughter, and certainly his favorite. So if any of my sisters that are looking, because they be following me on Facebook, but he would say that Anna is my favorite one. You know, he would say that. He would say I was his favorite people. I'm talking to my family members right now. So I believe that my father would say that I was his daughter. I believe that I was my father's daughter. And what I mean by that, I have so many characteristics that are so similar. My dad taught me so many, many things. He taught me, as versatile as I am, my father taught me about mechanics. He taught me when I went to college, he says, "Come here, girl." I said, "Yeah, Daddy." He said, "I want you to look under this hood, and I'm going to show you the things that you need to do. And I need you to behave, and I need you to act like this. This is how I want, if you ever have a problem with your car, I want you to be confident. I want you to be strong. When you go into a automobile place, you tell them what you want. Now, here's this book that tells you every detail about your car. And you need to understand what it means. You need to understand what it says so that you will not be taking advantage of when you take your car to have it repaired." And of course, being the daughter that I am, of course, I read the book. I fixed my water pump. I changed my oil. I rotated my tires. I mean, anything that broke on the car, I was fixing to change my spark plugs because that's the way my dad taught me. So,
Anna, how do you use these valuable life lessons from your dad in the work you do today?
Oh my gosh, there is nothing I won't like. There are no challenges. There are only solutions. There's only abundance in life. And I think for my dad was not an educated man. He got his GED at the age of 50. He only got a 3rd grade education because he had to go to work. He was a first generation English speaking Creole. And I think for him, he just really taught us, like, you can do anything. I thought my dad was the smartest in the world. You know what I'm saying? He just did everything. He was able to fix things, and we painted our home together. We did a lot of fixer-up kind of stuff when they didn't have HGD TV. You know what I'm saying? We were making our mistakes together. And so I think he just gave me the courage. He told me I was beautiful. He told me that I was smart. He said, you can do anything. My dad was so amazing in a lot of different ways, as my mother was. But he was just, we had a really unique father-daughter relationship, as well as he did with his other kids. But look, I didn't live their lives. I lived mine, and we had a great time.
If you could ask him one question today, what would you ask him?
Wow. I don't know. I think he answered all my questions. I would ask him one question: how's heaven?
How is heaven?
How is heaven? I mean, my dad did a wonderful job. I mean, we had great conversation, even up until the time that he went on to be with the Lord. And my dad, I'm very much like my father, because he was very open, you know. And one of my final conversations with him was really about his health. And him looking at me and telling me, if I have to live like this, it's time for me to go. And I said, well, Dad, if that's what you want to do, I'm in here with you. What can I do to help you? You know, wow. You've lived a great life. And so he was pretty open, pretty straightforward, wore his cowboy hat all the time, danced every Friday and Saturday night until the last Saturday. He wanted to go, but he couldn't. He went on to be with the Lord.
Since you're an open book, I'm going to open your library a little bit and ask you about your 3 books that you authored.
Yes.
Walk Powerful at Zero.
Yes.
Woman, Act Now.
Right here.
There you go. And Building General Wealth.
Yes, that's Woman Act Now. And Generational Wealth. I don't have that one readily available.
Generational Wealth. Sorry about that. I missed. Building Generational Wealth. Which was the most challenging and which was the most gratifying to write? I know it's an unfair question, Anna, but there is no challenge for you, Alan, just solutions.
Well, let me tell you about each one, maybe just briefly. The Generational Wealth book, I'm obviously the kind of person that when given a challenge or a charge or a mission, I do it. My husband gave me a mission, Richmond McCoy. He gave me a mission to go home in 2002. I was doing an event here in Dallas, Texas for Generational Wealth, and we got, it was a bad weather day, so we could not produce the event as we had planned to do it, so we had to come back 4 weeks later and do the event over, to have a do-over here. In those 4 weeks, he says, Anna, you're going to go home and you're going to lock yourself up and you're going to write this book. Well, I went home, I locked myself in a closet, and I wrote the book. It was within that period of time. By the time we came back for the event, I had it printed, and I sold 300 copies of it.
Did you actually do that, Anna?
I did, and that it's kind of an action workbook type book, but it was so good because the Holy Spirit was with me. I was the hand of a ready writer. The words were on my lip like that of a ready writer, and I just obeyed God and sat there, and I got the message. I got the information. I was prepared in many ways as I had been studying for different licensing and different things. So it just kind of flowed like water. And I got it printed and sold 300 copies the first day that I put it on the table. The second book, Woman Act Now, I had the opportunity to meet an incredible publisher, Whitaker Publisher, Mr. Bob Whitaker. They saw me speaking at a church in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, at Bishop Garlington's church. And one of the women called them up and said, this is your author. You need to talk to her. Invited me to a lunch for 1 hour. By the time we finished, I had a book deal and got the contract about a month later. Got a time when it was due. I wrote it in 3 months, and that's Woman Act Now. That one's about 300 pages. He says, Anna, can you write a book that's about 60,000 words, a word manuscript? I said, absolutely, one word at a time. So I was able to do that. And I really developed a lifestyle of writing. I hired a writing coach who came and stayed with me for 2 weeks and really helped me to focus. She says, Anna, you cannot write a book playing with your dogs. Anna, you cannot write a book at the store. Anna, you cannot write a book talking to somebody on the phone. Anna, you must focus. And you cannot write this book by inspiration. You must write it by discipline. And so she put me on track, and, it was done.
Anna, hold on a second. You can't just say these pearls of wisdom and run away from them. You can't write it by inspiration. What? Say it again, please, Anna.
You cannot write a book for all those wannabes who know that they're supposed to write a book, but they keep procrastinating. You cannot write a book by inspiration. You can be inspired while you're writing, but you must show up and you must have discipline. Discipline is to delay gratification. My mentor, Al Hollingsworth, taught me that.
Delay gratification.
Yes, so that the greater may live and the lesser may die.
Anna. Okay, we're going to have fun here tonight because I have some amazing questions to ask you. By the way, your book, Woman Act Now, is on the other side of your screen, not me. It's you on the book.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about Woman Act Now. So you wrote it. You tell us a little bit more about it.
Woman Act Now, the book is about really helping women to dream again, to believe in themselves, to execute on their ideas, and then to really make the connection, to learn how to connect with other amazing women so that those dreams can be accelerated, so that those ideas can be midwifed into physical manifestation. And so within the book of Woman Act Now, I take them through those 5 areas of dreaming again, of knowing who they are, of believing in themselves, getting rid of the dream busters in their lives, the toxic relationships, those, I said something this past weekend, find people you can be great with. Let your greatness, live a life worthy of your greatness. And so a part of that is about Woman Act Now and helping that woman to learn, launch, and live her dream and be the very best that she can be. There's a part in this book, about 80 pages of it, deals with her personal brand, her brand new talent, having her to understand that she is the talent, a brand new attitude, and how important the attitude is to your life. Attitude changes with new information, and people are having certain types of attitudes that are killing their dreams, they're killing their relationships, they're killing their opportunities. And so I talk a lot about brand new power, that when you walk into a room, your presence is there. It's an energy that you have. It's a courage that you have, and teaching her how to bring it, how can you be seen in the room? Where's the sunshine? Where's the light in your life? And so I speak about all of those things. And then there's a part on execution, how to execute a dream. And there's a part that I write about that's the empowerment zone. Stop moving out of this space until you are fully able, fully capable to take the appropriate action. Many of us have a wish, and it's not really anything that we're going to do, because a wish is wanting something without putting forth the effort. And so I teach her how to learn how to execute, how to identify her execution type. Is she a wisher? Is she a dreamer? Is she a dead woman walking? Or is she a doer? And so it just really helps her to identify that, and then to be empowered in that empowerment zone, or what I call the execution gap, where many people died, their dreams died, their ideas died, their relationships died, because they don't know if they're committed, if they have the right resources, the right locations, all of those things. And when you can answer some of those questions, you're now empowered. That means that the word empowerment, so, it's, people say, oh, it's an overused word. It will never be an overused word, because the word empowerment means to fill the vessel with courage. And so when a person comes and they're trying to fill you, trying to give you those things, those principles, those ideas that will help to fill you with courage to take the next appropriate action. and then you'll get some results, because the two are not the same.
Anna, I want to ask you about another intimacy, but I'll use love affair that
Yes.
you have with the concept of now. And
Yes.
why now? Tell us about that.
Wow. I was so impacted by my mentor, Al Hollinsworth, 20 years ago with this whole idea of now, of wanting to act now, do it now, time, and all of these things. But I never had a understanding of what now was. What he did for me in a very simple way, he defined the word now. Now is the amount of time that you can hold on to a thought before it becomes a past memory. Now, I said thought because thoughts are words. Our words are thought capsules, so to speak. And when you hear something, it gives you an ability to really recognize, identify, organize it, and file it for future use to see if it's something that's really important for you to act upon now. Once I captured that concept that now is the amount of time that I can hold a conscious thought before it becomes a past memory. The reason why that was so important is he taught me how my brain worked, that I had a subconscious and a conscious mind. And the moment that I hear something, my subconscious mind would throw up a picture to see, is it anything like this? Do you recognize it? Can you identify it? Can you organize it and file it for future use? Or is it something that must be acted upon now? And how it aligned with the Word of God. The Word of God says, casting down every imagination, every thought that exalts itself against the knowledge of Jesus Christ. And I was living my life having a life of wisdom and knowledge and experience and revelation with Jesus. And it just fit in my mind that this makes so much sense. Because if I do it now, because God is a God of now, then it's just going to be amazing. So I practice learning how to be conscious now in my 0, 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005. You see how much time passed? And if we started to practice that before we give an answer or before we react to things, we would learn how to respond in a much more accurate way.
Anna, we're going to take a short break. But when we get back, I want you to fix your light just a little bit.
Okay.
Like around the left side. Let me see. Anna. All right. I'm going on a break, Anna. I am going on a break.
So I'll work on it for you.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I knew you, but I really don't. There's more to you than quoting scriptures and impressing folks. And it'd be sad to know that you were never here if we turn on all the music and we clear the smoke. And I refuse to be part of the crowd that can only recognize you by the things you do. They wanna see you move, but I wanna know your ways. So I made up in my mind, in this season I'll be chasing you. I'm after your heart, and you know you're the reason I'm on this road alone. In this season, is there anything too hard? Is there anything too hard? Is there anything too hard for me? Is there anything too hard? Is there anything too hard? Is there anything too hard for me? God gives Abraham a prophecy that's bigger than his wife's imagination.
Is there anything too hard?
Sarah laughs because to her, it's impossible.
Is there anything, is there anything, is there anything too hard for me?
So God says, okay, Abraham, let me ask you a rhetorical question.
Is there anything too hard?
I mean, I know that you already know the answer, but I'll still ask you.
Is there anything too hard?
Because apparently Sarah has forgotten what I've done in the past. So,
Is there anything,
is there
anything,
is there
anything too hard for me?
Now here comes Moses afterwards with 600,000 Israelites.
We are back with the amazing Anna McCoy. Anna, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
As you said, there's no challenges, just solutions.
Yes, indeed.
And I want to go to the chat room and read some questions that people have here for you.
Okay.
Karen, where can we get your book? Amazon, that's the question. Is
Yes,
it on
Amazon.com.
Amazon.com? DB, does she have copies to show?
Copies of the book.
Yes, let me, okay, Woman Act Now.
Now, right here.
Hmm.
And Walk Powerful. And you can always go to annamccoy.com and send me a message, or I think you might be able to purchase a book. If you can't, just send me a message. We'll get back to you and get your hard copy.
And I love this woman, Selwyn, real talk. And then DB again, wow now. The time it takes for a thought, love it. Anna, I just want to get into, well, let me ask you, but the organization, you were founder of an organization, Woman Act Now, right?
Yes, Woman
So-
Act Now, One Woman Movement. I'm the global officer for Urban America, though.
Did the book inspire the organization, or the organization inspired the book?
The book actually inspired the organization. The Woman Act Now actually started in 2004 with an idea, as I was doing the Building Generational Wealth, to help a woman act now, live the debt-free life. And as a result of that it just kind of continued on. And when I had an opportunity to name this book, I named it. I had a debit card for women to live the debt-free life called Woman Act Now. And my picture was on that card, and I had thousands of women who actually had it and were using it to get out of debt.
Really?
Before the prepaid industry actually, took off, where you see all of these prepaid cards everywhere. They didn't have those back in 2003, 2004. So I was a pioneer in some ways. Before the Rush card with, Russell Simmons, all of those things, I had put this card together and worked with some organizations to bring it to women. I had Woman Act Now insurance. I had quite a few things for women to get their lives together.
Anna, how do you explain why you're such a sought after speaker?
I would hope that I would have something of value to share with audiences around the world to impact their hearts. And I think the second thing is I'm a very authentic person. I feel like when a person invites me to speak at their conference or their event, that I am 110% there, that I believe that I'm on an assignment and I'm on a mission there. And I'm not just there to speak from that podium, but I'm there to make the connections with the women or the men that are in the audience. And I don't think that you would find any other review of me that would be less than her being available. I've never seen a speaker quite like her, in the sense it's not just what she says, but it's what she does. I mean, I totally engage and I'm available, and I'm looking for those opportunities to make real connections, because I honor people when they come out to these events, or if they come to see me. I think that's as much as equally as important as it is for me to be a keynote or a speaker in that event, to honor them that they've given of their time as I have given mine.
Anna, I, I'm, I really want to get to exactness, precision, and accuracy. That there's some fascinating stuff, audience. But before that, so
Uh-huh.
here you are, Anna, influencing global real estate partnerships as well as sourcing strategic relationships with governments, the
Yeah.
United Nations,
Hmm.
NGOs, to name some. When you first entered the international arena, how close were you to imagining doing this at such a high level?
That was the start.
Really?
That was the thinking all along, is that, if I think that I had this idea that if I go to nations, I have to speak to people of influence.
Oh.
You know what I mean? I love all people, but I felt that my calling were to women influencers, those who impacted multitudes. And if I could share and develop deep and loving relationships with them, then we could impact the people they influenced. And so that was really always my intention. And then I had the privilege of joining forces with Linda Wallace, Dr. Linda Wallace, in 2011 at her Convergence conference. And we've been in relationship for 20 years. But once we had that opportunity to come together, our unique destinies were entangled, and our giftings were necessary for each of us to go to the levels that we were to go. Kind of like a Paul and Barnabas experience. Two are much better than one. And having that experience with her um, we affirmed each other. She had been going to South Africa when I started going with her for 12 years. But the amount of time, once I joined forces with her, what she was able to accomplish in the 2 or 3 years, and the people that we ended up connecting with, it was so much more accelerated because she brought this compassion she had, this love that they had for her as a mother to the nation. And what's so remarkable for women to understand, when we come together and we collaborate, we enlarge our influences when we bring other people into our circles of influence. And really, what you're doing for the people you influence is you're exposing them to what's a gift to you. And that's how it went with Linda and I. We exposed each other to the circles of influence, because I was like, you don't understand what my life has been like with this woman in it. You don't understand what my life has been like with this woman in it, and being able to bring that and share each other with our influence circles. And because of our unique talents, and my area of business, her area of ministry, prophetic insight, I was able to support her in areas that she would have not felt comfortable. Not that she wasn't capable, she just would not have felt comfortable going into some of these places to have the kind of in-depth conversations that we had about impacting that nation's, whether it's their economy, whether it was an idea, whether it was a policy, it didn't matter. She may not have felt as comfortable as I felt. And then when it came to ministry, like with her coming to Nigeria with me, it was to expose and to bring what she gave to me to the women that I was impacting there, because I wasn't as comfortable in the space of ministry as I was, doing business, doing kingdompreneur, doing finances, doing those. And so by us coming together, created a unique experience.
Well, I am going to fast track to 2016. You say is the year of exactness, precision, and accuracy.
Yes.
Can we talk about the 25 powerful principles for amazing accuracy and purposeful outcomes? I want to begin with say exactly what you want.
I absolutely love that, Selwyn. I think this year is the year of exactness. And it's not just a year, but, people respond to themes and things like that. But what I really sensed is that exactness has to do with maturity. When a person can be exact about what they want, when they can say exactly what they want, they have a couple of things that they have developed. They've developed the senses, they've developed the courage to say what they want. They've developed maturity to pursue the things they want. And I think that a part of being and doing and going and accomplishing the things that we want to accomplish in our life, not just this year, but going forward. This isn't a theme. This is a practice in a development of character and abilities that will take you so much farther than 2016. And the first thing is that your words are so powerful. They form and create your world. So start it with saying exactly what you want.
Okay. Consider deeply your end before you begin.
This, I think, is so important. So many of us are reactionary. You know, we want to do things, but we don't really consider deeply. There's a one thing to consider your end or to think about your end before you begin. That's a Stephen Covey principle. But this is to consider more deeply, to go deeper still, to connect with what really is important to you, what matters to you, what you value. And in order to do that, you're going to have to put some consideration into what you're doing in your life. You're going to have to develop the values that matter to you so that when you are about to take an action on something, do they align with who you believe you are or who you want to be? So consider deeply your end before you begin.
I love this one. Establish order. Eliminate the clutter spiritually, emotionally, and physically.
Well, the one thing about me is I like to lead the way, Selwyn. If I'm talking about something, I want to practice. I want to practice what I say. So this place of establishing order, I have been establishing order in my own space, in my own office, in my own home, in reclaiming my environment. You know, I'm reading a great book by Dr. Lionel King called Mastering Vitality. And over the next 20 days, I am doing something every day that he has told me to do regarding these 7 steps to vitality, because it's important to me to be able to do what I say. So I am using that as a way to create this space in my life and eliminate the clutter. And I've been doing it. I've lost 14 pounds in a matter of since I saw you, which was maybe 4 weeks ago. All of that's a part of being so much better because I want to hit the mark and I want to develop the habits of hitting the mark. And I believe these 25 things that we may or may not get to tonight are the things that are helping me to be better, that I can be more accurate in eliminating that clutter spiritually, you know, emotionally and physically is important to me.
Give attention to your highest and best use.
Absolutely love it. And I share with individuals, including myself, I am trying to align my highest and my best use. I have so many talents, so many gifts. I can do a lot of things. I can jump on a lot of bandwagons. But when it comes to doing or giving attention to your highest and best use, if you're in business today, how you do that, what that looks like is maybe you have 3 revenue streams, you know, and one of them you really enjoy doing, but there's nothing coming out the pipe. So this is where we have to say, wait a minute, because this is about accuracy. This is about you getting supernatural and amazing results in some of the things that you want to accomplish in your life. So this is where you have to give attention. Is this your highest and best use? And be willing to make some of the more difficult choices to eliminate what isn't your best use.
So if you are doing something over and over and it's not generating the kind of revenue or the reward that you're expecting,
Absolutely.
then you're wasting precious time that can be applied somewhere else.
Yes.
Wow. Pursue the persona of exactness.
Pursue the persona of exactness. The word persona has to do with I am, the am of who you are, the person of who you are. Mm-hmm. And as I said, I like when I'm teaching or when I'm sharing these principles, I am practicing these principles so that I can fine tune my own life. I like to lead by example, and I am developing in pursuing the persona of exactness. That is the other 24 principles that I'm sharing with you. I'm trying to say exactly what I want. I want to be accurate in my communication with my husband, with my business partners, with the people that I mentor, that I coach, or what I might need from someone. If I'm developing a new relationship, I want to be very, very accurate about what I am saying. I want to consider deeply my end before I begin. I don't want to jump in bed with anybody and agree and align with people that I'm not really clear about. And so when I say I'm pursuing this persona of exactness, I'm pursuing the other 24 so that I can develop the habit of practice that brings exactness and precision and supernatural accuracy in my life. And I'm going to be much more successful over a protracted period of time.
I'm going to skip one. Alignment accelerates your assignment.
I absolutely love this, just as I just gave the example about Linda and I coming together. When you align with the right people, it will accelerate the assignment
Yes.
that to do together. I mean, things become much more clearer, your priorities become clear. But here's the thing that I really love. Alignment really is not about following people. It is about a side-by-side relationship. It is about a supportive, engaged, collaborative relationship. And what matters to you, Selwyn, matters to me when you're in true alignment.
Yes. Be agreeable and be intentional and clear about what you engage in.
My goodness. So many people have an attitude like, they're ready to fight. The world flows one way, one way. You see all the water flowing one way. Very few places in the world, although there are some where the water flows upstream. But not many places throughout the universe actually does that. Things flow one way. The moon flows one way. The water flows one way. But there are some people that just wake up to be out of flow. The word fear, Selwyn,
Yes.
means to flow.
It means what?
The origin of fear means to flow. When you look at, I look at Psalms 23rd, the 23rd, I will not fear, yea, though I walk through the valley of shadow and death, I will fear no evil. And that fear has to do with flow. I'm not going to change my flow because I'm going through this valley. I'm going to continue because it's keep flowing in the direction that you are to go. But isn't that appropriate for fear to stop us in our tracks?
Yes.
To turn us around? But It means keep moving. Don't stop. Just keep moving in that flow. And so I think that when I think about being agreeable, you need to change your mindset. You got to have a paradigm shift that try to agree with the world and watch and see how much grace and you will attract to yourself when you become an agreeable person. Be intentional.
Talk about yourself, huh? Be your authentic self. Be unapologetically excellent.
Yes. And I think that so many of us, we're searching for our identity. When I think about these two things, being your authentic self, it is nothing greater than to be comfortable in your own skin and stop apologizing for your excellence.
Stop apologizing for your excellence.
Yeah, stop apologizing. I mean, I was listening to a young lady talking about the millennials and all of this, and there's so much activity and different things going on about that. But she did such an excellent job when we talk about respect. We talk about things that we used to do. Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, courteous, being gentle. But when you see so many young people, how they talk about things on social media and they're disconnected.
Yes.
That's not the real. It's like, well, I've got all these friends, but I have no friends because I won't even show up and have dinner with my family. So what does that mean? So when I think about being unapologetically excellent, it's like the whole world is trying to dumb you down, trying to make you accept all of this foolishness as truth. And it isn't true.
Yes.
So this idea of exactness has to do with people coming into their truth, coming into what's truth and valuable, in excellent in standards for themselves and don't apologize for it because the whole world seems to be flowing in one way. Know the way that truth flows and follow it.
Suspend your judgment, trust your instinct.
Yes, this is so beautiful because this has been one of the most powerful principles I have practiced in my life. You know, I believe that the Lord is my Lord and Savior. But when I'm talking to people, I can't. I remember you asked me something earlier. I want to contribute to the excellence of other people. And so by really suspending my judgment, my filters of what I think should be right, what I think is right, it removes this filter in my life so I can really see people. I want to see the heart of people. I want to see the love of people, whatever that love means for them. I want to see their kindness. I want to see joy. I want to find the goodness in life. And
Yes.
if I stand behind my little filter and my thoughts and my values of what's important and what's not important and that's not okay or that, I'm not talking about tolerance. I'm not talking about accepting people's, preferences in life. I'm saying this has nothing to do. I want to see people. I want to see the human being, human kindness, or the humanity of people. And so I can't see that with just my way of living, my paradigms. And so I am learning to suspend my judgment and see people
Hmm.
and trust my instinct.
Seek to understand rather than be understood.
You
And
know,
then,
this is an adage and a principle, a classic principle of Stephen Covey. It's not mine, but it's something that I live for. And
yes,
seek to understand rather than be understood. What I'm talking about in this space is learn how to decrease so that God can increase and always ask, what is his perspective on the matter?
mm, hmm. Seek clarity, examine motives.
This is so important for us when we're talking about exactness and precision is ask the questions, seek the clarity, know the motives of the hearts of people, because whatever motive is in their heart is the driver of their actions. And
Mm.
stop pretending that you don't see a motive here. Stop pretending. Stop being nice. Stop trying to make people feel good. Because remember, we are after exactness and precision and accuracy in our lives so that we can do supernatural things and amazing things in our own lives. And I'm not talking about just doing and being successful. I'm talking about living with joy in your life, living with peace in your life, living with hope in your life, presence in your life. You can't do all that pretending. So seek clarity, examine the motives of the relationships. I don't care how close they are to you. You were born into a family, you didn't choose it. The challenge with our families is they don't give us an opportunity to mature into amazing people.
Yes, true.
It differs from their own belief systems.
Very true.
Differs from their own actions and what they deem as important. So I believe that seeking clarity and examining the motives of people around you is of the highest priority to actually accomplish exactness and accuracy in your life.
Be quick to listen and slow to speak and have definiteness of purpose.
A definiteness of purpose. That means that, you know what, start to listen more. Don't be so quick to speak. Remember, now is 0 to 5 seconds.
Yes.
And you wait just a few seconds, 01, 02, 03, 04, 05, and just start to give yourself time.
Elevate your expectation.
Absolutely. Oh, and elevating my expectation. This is so good. Is to elevate your expectation in all things. Okay, so that's going to take you right back to considering deeply your end before you begin. And what I mean by that, whatever you are engaging in, elevate your expectation. Expect more. Expect grace. Expect gratitude. Elevate. That means wherever you are today, whatever you're thinking about today, whatever you think you can contribute today, elevate the expectation. Go higher still. Believe more still. Have a greater hope still. That's what I believe about elevating your expectation.
Pay attention to details. Evaluate your choices.
Now, pay attention to details. You have to when you want to be exact. You have to when you want to be precise. Because even though these words sound alike, it takes different things to get to them. So if you want to hit the mark and you pull an arrow and you shoot it towards something,
Mm-hmm.
you want to be precise, not exact. You want to be precise to hit the target. If you want to be exact on something, you heard of an X-Acto knife, right?
Yeah.
X-Acto knife is a fine, sharp edge so that you can cut exactly where you want and you won't miss the mark. But if you use a butcher knife, it's not going to work. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So you won't be able to accomplish that with the accuracy that you're pursuing. So I believe that as we pay attention to the details, and the details, they're all around you. Be conscious. Pay attention to what people are saying about you. Pay attention to what you're doing in your workplace. Do more than required. Evaluate your choices. That's a really, really good one because choice is your power. Choice, I mean, it is the will of man to make a choice. It is like humanity's goal is when you're given a choice because that's where your power is. So don't be frivolous with the choices that you make.
Tap into your superpower. What are you most gifted, effective, and intentional about?
Well, I'm calling that a superpower, and I want people to really think about what do they do well? What are they intentional about? What really comes easy for them? What do friends talk about concerning them? What do they say about them that as it relates to their abilities or their giftings? And when you can pinpoint that and you can tap into that, like my superpower, I'm unapologetic. I don't understand it, but unapologetic, then it moves atmospheres, because I'm not trying to shrink and be less than to accommodate things. I'm just going to be. I'm going to let
Yes.
the power that's in me be present. I have a spirit of humility about loving people and honoring other people. And that takes care of itself. I'm not boastful. I'm not arrogant in any kind of way, but I mean, I'm incredible. I mean, Selwyn, I'm like, I am a phenomenal woman full of character and authority and integrity and grace and honor for people. Love, you know what I'm saying? It's like I just got to go with that superpower. I got the grace factor on my life. It's a superpower. I recognize it, I remember it, and I take advantage of it. Another principle I've been living with for 20 years from my coach. My coach is Mrs. H and Coach Hollingsworth. I mean, I'm the kind of person, when I learn a thing, I'm going to develop it. It's going to become a habit. It's going to become easy. It's going to impact my destiny. And when I tell you, I've learned how to remember God's grace, remember what he's done for me, even to the simplest parking spot. Some people don't believe that, but I do, because I've elevated my expectations. When I go into a crowded parking lot, I am asking for favor. Give me the one that I want. Give me the one up close. Look, I don't want to deal with all this. So open the way. Let me be able to recognize it and then ultimately take advantage of it.
Mm-hmm.
It happens to me when I travel around the world. Look, people see me. Excuse me, ma'am. I can help you here. And the line is 200 deep.
Wow.
So
embrace your superpower. Find it and embrace it.
The grace factor.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Favor. Undeserved favor. That's a superpower. So since it's undeserved, I'm going after what? Favor.
Write that down. So that goes with being unstoppable. So
being unstoppable. Oh my gosh. This is what's interesting about this being unstoppable. To be unstoppable is a result of you becoming exact, precise, and accurate. You are unstoppable.
Give yourself permission to say no.
Absolutely. You have to learn how to do it. These are habits I'm talking about, developing a habit. A habit is an involuntary action. Okay? So give yourself permission to develop the habit of saying no. of saying no, of developing that habit that when you're going to be so exact about your life and the things that you know you are to do and the things that you know that you cannot do. And there's only one thing in between. No and no.
Say yes to what matters most.
Now, this is as hard as it is to say no. So learn how to say what matters most. And in order to do that, you're going to have to tap into what your heart wants to do, what your heart desires are, so that you can set the priorities, so you can say yes to what matters most in your life, so that you can say yes to your relationships, yes to your career, in developing and designing a life that you can navigate, that you can be successful in. Say yes to what matters most.
Ground yourself in gratitude.
The best thing ever, Selwyn, is to be grounded in gratitude. Get this picture. Consider gratitude like two buckets full of cement, of wet cement. And right now, just with me, just kind of step into that. Step into the wet cement. That is the gratitude. So that you become grounded and you will always remember the weight of success in your life, the weight of love and grace and favor on your life, because you're what? Grounded in gratitude. You can't lift one leg without understanding the weight of gratitude, the weight of thankfulness in your life, because every step you take matters.
Get the facts and walk in faith.
Get the facts and walk in faith. This is so important. You know, we talk a lot about faith. And I'm saying to individuals, when it comes to exactness and precision and supernatural accuracy, is, you know what? Get the faith, get the facts, so that you can walk in faith. Many of us, we don't have the facts, and facts can change, but facts can also bring truth for you to be able to take that truth and be able to accelerate and walk in your faith. And faith is substance. It's up ahead. It's up there, everybody. And all you do is put your belief in motion, and eventually you'll accomplish the thing that you want. That's another principle I learned from my mentor, Al Hollingsworth, is your faith is your belief in motion. And when you can,
Belief in motion.
yes, we believe in the hope and the facts and the things that you are that are truth for you, then you can put your belief in motion, and ultimately you will achieve the thing that you want. And you know, I'm talking about my mentor. You can go to bossthemovement.com. He does amazing intensives that you can learn all of these principles yourself, and he's still teaching. There will be few people in life, Selwyn, that will have the impartation that he and his wife has given me. And so get it while you can.
What is it? What is the address again?
bossthemovement.com.
Bossthemovement.com.
That's building on spiritual substance. And he teaches young people around the world to know the relevance of God's word in meeting their need. He teaches them about entrepreneurship and 7-year-olds coming up with creative ideas to create businesses up to the age of 19. And so you can bring that program to your community if you work with children all over the world. He's on every continent.
When are you most happy, Anna?
I am most happy. Wow. Well, number one, happy is a state of mind. So sometimes I'm happy, but let me tell you when I'm most joyful. I am most joyful knowing that I was made for joy, that I was made to be enjoyed. You know, I'm joyful when I can give, I can serve, I can love, I can be fully me and be a gift to anyone that I come into contact with. That's where my joy, and it starts at home. And that's with my husband, Richmond, is being a servant and a lover, a friend, a confidant, business partner. He brings me joy.
Wow. What are you most proud of?
I think I'm most proud of being married to my husband, Richmond McCoy. He was a stranger that I met, and then I married. We became friends. We've done a lot in life together. We're still doing so many things. He is the most important to me. He is my highest priority. I would do none of this if it is a threat to my relationship.
Wow.
My husband, Richmond.
What are you most thankful for?
I am most thankful for having a relationship with God that I've converted into having amazing relationships with people upon the earth.
If you could go back in time, what would you tell the 15-year-old Anna?
If I could go back in time and talk to Anna, I would tell her, girl, you're doing it just like you thought you would.
Anna, what makes you laugh out loud?
Oh my God, making Selwyn laugh.
Anna, you didn't have to talk.
Wait. So funny. What makes me laugh out loud is seeing the joy in the eyes of other people when we discover the simple things. But I'm going to tell you, my husband makes me laugh out loud. My dogs make me laugh out loud because I wake up and sing a good morning song to them. And I'm so intrigued by how they respond. My mama makes me laugh out loud. My family members. I mean, people in general. I mean, I am such a prankster and a trickster.
Yes,
or whatever.
yes.
I love just having fun. I'm more the young girl than I am the disciplined follower, the disciplined doer. But I love laughing. And Linda Wallace and I, oh my God,
Trouble.
we lose our minds together. I mean, we say absolutely nothing. My sister and I, we look at each other and we just bust out laughing for nothing whatsoever. And so I don't know, the energy of life makes me laugh out loud.
Anna, that was supposed to be the last question, but I have to ask you this. You were recently in Guyana.
Yes.
What was most fascinating about your trip?
Wow. I believe what's most fascinating to me about Guyana, and I would love to go back, the passion, having an opportunity to meet the First Lady and the passion she has for children and their education and putting shoes on their feet. And we're going to do something, and I'm saying it again publicly, to come alongside her. And we're just figuring out how to do it, how to make it available to our circles of influence to put shoes on the feet of children. But even in that moment with her, just listening to her passion. And I asked her this question about, did you ever think, you would be here, you would be the first lady of this nation, and what does that kind of mean to you, And she's like, well, no, not really, but now that I'm here, let me make the most of it. And really, her passion for young people, I mean, she was just so clear about education and some of the things that they needed in certain areas of Guyana. Then we had the opportunity, and this was most impactful for me, was meeting with the town clerk. And in that meeting, how he talked about wanting this city, this capital city, to be known, to be clean, to be green. And it was a part of the president's goal is to bring Guyana into a go green nation. But to hear how people spoke of the town clerk, as well as him being able to implement some of these things. And I was riding in a taxi with a gentleman, and he was just saying, wow, look at this. And what he was saying is that was a man raking his yard. And he says, I've never seen this before, but this administration is doing it. They're going to make Guyana better. And I think the other part was the women there, who I believe that Linda and I had an opportunity to inspire with their great leader, Miss Sonia Nelson, who has vision for this nation, is going to impact for women and children. She has a strong heart for our orphans there, but to see the passion of
Sonia Noel.
Yes, Sonia Noel. And to experience her passion for the women, to bring these women to levels of in their business and in their lives was I think we're more alike than we are different. And it was an opportunity to confirm and affirm that women are rising around the world. In Guyana, you better watch out because your women are going to rise and it's going to be good. And I just hope that Linda and I are part of that opportunity to continue to share the principles of business as well as the principles of love in this love revolution that's happening in Guyana, and that we want to be a part of it. And
I believe that. 10 years ago, I wrote a poem, Women, Your Time Has Come.
Wow.
Yeah. I should find that poem and send it to you. Gosh, I forgot about that.
Yes, you should
I should find it and send it to you, Anna. Woman, your time has come.
Probably appropriate now, and it's probably going to encourage many of us to continue to move forward. So,
Anna, always a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Selwyn, for inviting me. Know that you're loved and appreciated, and for all of those that are listening, you are loved. Have an incredible evening and an even better tomorrow.
Thank you, Anna. Same to you. Have a pleasant evening.
Thank you, sir.
Take care. Good night.
Nothing, nothing.
Not even sickness.
Nothing, nothing.